Good morning, everybody. We're going to continue our conversation about vanishing points, single vanishing points, with this practice with one of my paintings. It's a black and white version. I will say, so between 2011 and 2012, I lived in Brooklyn, New York. This is the brownstone that I lived in. One of my best friends owned it, and she let me live there really, really cheap for all the years. She let me live really, really cheap for all the years, the year I was there. This was my floor. It was a beautiful building. And what I found often in New York and places with big structures like that is that I was always looking up when I was looking at these buildings. And so for a long time, I've painted a version of this probably 15 times. It sells every single time. But it's also a great exercise in how to use vanishing points, because just like here, I want to remove the spotlight here and pop this up for a second. Just like what we learned in this lesson. Finn, you're so cute. In this a variation of this lesson, I should stop saying this until I get it shared. Here we are. Right? We learned that all these lines go to a single vanishing point. These all go here. These all go here because they're all going a single direction, right? We learned that. And all to this single vanishing point. It's also true when you're looking up and everything's going in the same direction. So that same thing that's happening here is happening up here. That makes sense? So you're going to copy this today. You're going to draw it today. Um, I am going to give you two options. I wanted to show you, I mean, I painted this before I understood vanishing points. And I think what you're going to see is this is going to make things much, much easier for you. I painted this before I knew vanishing points because it was very early in my career. And I just kind of measured these angles. I was smart enough to know that each angle is different, right? Each line here is different. Um, I didn't really know about vanishing points. So mine doesn't, when you draw the line straight up, doesn't quite go to the vanishing point until you leave the page. Can you see this? It's like kind of right off the page. However, I'm going to give you the option of either bringing all your points here and seeing how that changes your composition, or you can kind of set up your points here in a radius, right, around the and a lot of times in your drawings the vanishing point won't be on the page. You'll have to follow it off the page. Does that make sense? Does anybody have a question about that? Let me know now. So I wish I had known this though, because I could have totally corrected this, and it would have been helpful for me to know. So the first thing you're going to do, where's my ruler? I need a straight edge. I guess I don't really have a straight edge, so I'm just going to use this. You're going to start by identifying the top of the building. This is A4 printer paper. So be aware that if you're using something a lot bigger or with different dimensions, this is going to look, when you do this subject, these are going to look differently. So if you're using paper that's longer or taller than what's happening here, your picture is going to look different. I'm not going to require that you use paper the same size, but I do want you to learn what happens when you set up. We will set up the same vanishing point and see how this changes, right, from place to place. Um, when I look at this, I see, it's like any good composition. I think I'm going to mark the halfway points on this just to show you where things are. So I'm going to find the halfway point. And notice because this edge kind of cut off a little bit on this side, I just sketched in what would happen if you could see them. So I want you to actually sketch in, right, this, not this blocked off section. I'm going to mark the halfway points here. I'm going to kind of guess. We'll see how I'm on today. Is that like, um, check this. I don't think it's exactly half. I might have to move it up a little bit. I find halfway point. Oh, yeah, that's exactly half. Wow, go figure. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So this is the halfway right here. So if this is the halfway, and I can find it on the other side too. And in fact, I can find it here by just carrying this measurement over to here, lining up. Double check it. Down a little bit. See how I'm using this measurement to find this one? There. Right, here's half on this side, right up there. If I find my halfway point, which I'm now going to mark on my paper right here, you can do this by using a ruler. You can do this by doing what I'm doing, which is not as good on this one. We'll see. Yeah, no, not quite it. I'm going to bring it down a little bit. Do all of this work, of course, with a pencil that you can erase. Yeah. There's my halfway point there. I can come here. Just a little bit. So if I find my halfway point, then that helps me figure out that kind of maybe an inch, a little bit less than an inch above the halfway point is where the top of my building is. You see how I did that? So I'm using halfway points are really helpful because they're easy to find and they can help us figure out where things are if they're not exactly equal. And now I'm going to just use this piece of watercolor paper to sketch my line across. So I'd like to see, oh, and then I'll have you do one more thing. We're going to find the halfway point across the middle, which is where the vanishing point is up here. So once again, I'm going to kind of guess. My pencil isn't long enough. One. Nope. A little bit more over here. It's right in between. Let's see. I'll do this. That's right. That'll help. Yep. It's right here. This is the halfway point, right? That's right there. Then you can either decide to bring all your lines right to here, or you can kind of put this little array out here. There's a dot here. There's a dot here. And then there's a dot here. And those will be the points that you'll go to. So go ahead, and if you have any questions about this or what I just did, let me know. Otherwise, I'm going to have you do this, start with this, and then we'll go from there. And I want to see these before you get started drawing. So please, those of you who think you've got this, don't go ahead until I've approved this section. I am only a hard ass when at the beginning, which is where the structure really needs to be and where we struggle the most. I want you to be able to succeed with this drawing. So make sure you get your little pieces through like this. I'm going to put this up a little bit. So remember, these points are the halfway points. This is the top of the building. It's kind of a little bit above the halfway point. Oh, yeah, right here. And if any of this doesn't make sense, I want you to ask me questions. So might be hard. You guys are good at formulating the questions that I think a lot of people struggle with, to kind of put words on what they're struggling conceptually. These are concepts we're talking about. Anybody ever been in one of these Brooklyn brownstones? This is the classic Brooklyn brownstone. Absolutely, it's an absolutely stunning, it's an absolutely stunning building, kind of building. I lived on the second floor. So what happened was my friend owned this building and she lived in the bottom two levels and I lived on the top. Okay, so Leela, the first problem is that you're working, you're gonna need to redo that because you're working horizontal, like vertically, and this is a horizontal composition.
Portrait versus, yeah. Okay, cool.
See, this is why I want to see it now. So, like, there we go. And it's easy to make these kind of mistakes, right? It's easy. It's easy to kind of get flipped around. This way of thinking is so new for us. It's so untrained in us that it's easy to miss the basic components and then wonder what's going on. Thank you for putting that up so everybody could see that. And thank you for serving as the example, as always. I'm sure you're not the only person that made that mistake. I know if not in this class, I've seen people do it a lot. And often I wouldn't find out until the end of class. And then they'd be like, I don't know why this thing doesn't look right. And I'm like, oh my God. Let's see more at the beginning. Anyway, I lived in the second floor. She lived in the bottom two floors and I lived in the second floor. And it was one, there were two big rooms and then a kitchen, a bathroom, and a closet where I had laundry, which was amazing. And each of the rooms had this marble fireplace. They weren't working, but they were so gorgeous. Marble fireplaces with beautiful sculptural faces of women on either side of the fireplace, carved in marble. It was absolutely outrageous. And you can see from the back here too, it's a really stunningly beautiful building. 4 stories. When I lived there in 2011, she had just had the roof ripped off by a tornado that came through Brooklyn and just ripped off 4 roofs on her street. And so the top floor was uninhabitable. It was like it was kind of blocked off from the elements. I mean, there was tarps and plywood and stuff, but for a lot of reasons, she had not been able to fix it. So she couldn't technically rent it. And even on my floor, which, wasn't on the top floor, occasionally you could see kind of little brown rivulets of a little bit of rain coming through, which didn't bother me because I got to live there super, super, super cheap. Kind of unbelievable, actually. The place I live now where I live, now that it's all fixed up, goes for like 4 times what I paid for it. Amazing buildings though, really structurally incredible. When you think you've got it, send it over, please.
So it went for the vanishing point. Sorry, missed how you spaced out the dots. How do you do that?
I mean, look at them right here. See? This is if the vanishing point is going to here.
Mhm.
off the page, which means that this is the center, and these are just kind of a little bit on either side. You're going to have to judge that, evaluate that. Or you can just make the vanishing point here, the very center, and
Mhm.
note how it changes things. Either way is okay with me. I just wanted to show you what it looked like and how you might draw something differently or the same, depending on where you kind of located your vanishing point. So you can make your vanishing point just right here, make it easy, everything goes to that. But you can also do it exactly like what I did here. Leela, I think you need to go up a little bit higher on this. Can you see yours is like kind of
Yeah,
down
it's a bit
here?
low. Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit low.
Okay.
We're on the right track though. And you'll like that that little center line is going to be helpful for you because it's going to show you kind of where to start your drawing. This evaluating distance is tricky because it's proportional, right? You have to kind of look at the space and guess if you look at this and then you're doing it at a different size somewhere else, you still have to get the proportion the same. So a lot of it is about, does that look about right proportionally based on how much more space I have? I think that's the thing that's hard about it. But once you get into it, it's so much easier than using numbers. Anybody I know who's ever tried to use that. In fact, I was laughing yesterday about Sandra Mahler, who's a fantastic drawer in class. And we were looking at her painting of this monkey, amazing painting. And I said, the one thing I can see is that the nose is too low. And she goes, nope, I measured it with the calipers. And I'm like, I measured it. It's exactly the same. She did a 1-to-1 transmission. And guess what? The nose was too long. so even like the really detailed things won't give you necessarily. And I went, aha, I defeat the caliper again with my eye. So this is what I'm trying to train you to see. And she admitted I was right, and did a great job, did an amazing job. So even these little tools can make us off. Let's see who just sent that through. Bonvi, I can't see this because you haven't taken a picture of it straight up and down. I'm kind of looking at it from the side. Can you please get the entire paper and the entire paper and straight up and down, right? That's so that I can actually evaluate it. Leela, that looks pretty good. Okay, while the rest of you are struggling with this one, I'm going to get you started on your next set of lines. I think the most important thing to see, actually, there's some color so you can really see it. Let's see, let's do help. So the most important thing is to see where these lines start, here and here. So the first thing you're going to do is draw lines. You're going to locate where this is, which requires more evaluating, right? Where is this? Two. Literally, it's 1/3 of the way up the halfway point. So if I come over here, I'm going to actually measure 1, 2. Yeah, it's about right. So this point starts here, and this point starts down here. So I need to find these. Is this bigger? Actually, believe it or not, these are about the same distance. So I can take this, go here. And Bombi, one thing I'm going to tell you, because your paper is a different shape, that your windows are going to look a little weird. But I still want you to go through this process and understand that. Okay. So I have this point, and then easy as pie, I can go to this point on the right, on the left there, And I can go to this point on the left there. And what I know then is that my windows, both rows, will fit in here. It's amazing. Agatha, I do not want you to do this until you've done this and this.
Yep.
So I need to make sure these are here and those are here before you go forward. I'm just showing this because I saw Leela's forward has already got there. And you're going to do that with all of these. So you're going to find your points here. Once again, you're still going to have to guess. But now that you've laid these down, you can kind of use them a little bit. And this line is also kind of an interesting line, right? Because it goes down. This is the halfway point. So you can kind of measure. Oh, yeah. If I find my halfway point here, which I do by coming down here, I'm going to wait on that, actually. I want to make sure everybody's actually on board before with the first steps. Ani, did you decide to, I think you're going to run out of space with your windows. Maybe not. Your windows might look a little squatter because your vanishing point is much higher. Can you see that? But I'm
Yeah,
okay
yeah.
with that. I'm okay with that, but just know that that's going to happen. But know that everything is going to that vanishing point. That's a good way to take this. I think the proportions of that are different than what I'm working with.
Yeah.
So is that what you were doing? Is that where you're going with that? Okay, great.
Yep.
And you can see, so Ani's gone a little bit ahead. We're going to, let's see, Christina. Christina, nope. So pay attention. Pay attention. That line doesn't start down here. It starts up here. So notice what happens when you get tired and you don't follow all the steps. You do what the left brain wants you to do, which is regulate everything. There is no line that goes from the corner to here. This dot is up here. This dot is over here. Got it? Unfortunately, when you're copying something like this, you don't get to decide randomly where these lines go. If you're trying to, draw what you're seeing, you need to look at where the line start and end. So be careful on that. It's a rookie mistake. Happens a lot. You'll see. I'm gonna sketch this line down the center. Double check this halfway point, and yep, this is exactly halfway. So I'm going to kind of guess, I think, where I think this, on this side where this window starts, on this side, and it's the same, it's equal distant on either side from the center point. So I can go here, and then over here. These two go right to the center. Get to see what we did in watercolor. I'm using the watercolor painting. So pay attention. This is a big, big lesson. Notice how unhelpful your left brain is right there. This one, it's closer. This one is closer to here. And it's a little bit higher than here. So I can grab this, come over here, and then go up a little bit. And then on this side, I can go. You think this is tedious? Let me tell you what real tedium is, having to measure the stop and end points of every single one of these lines. It's incredibly tedious. Bombi, let's see. Bonvi, these are way too far out, honey. So far out. Look at how close they are in relation to the center. You have them all spread out. So you're making the classic rookie mistake of, I'm sorry, I'm gonna call these rookie mistakes. This is beginning drawing, so everybody's making them. Is making the space between things too big. So you see how you've done that? You've gone over here and over here. That's not how far out they are. They're very close to the center. And it might actually behoove you, Bonvi, to, because you're using a different size paper, just to have one vanishing point in the very center and have all your lines go right here. Because I think you might struggle to get these in the right places. That would be my suggestion.
So should I
But you can
put
see,
my vanishing point on the top of the paper then?
I'm sorry, what?
Should I put the vanishing point on top of the paper?
At the very center on top of the paper, yes. Yours isn't going to go off the page because I think you'll struggle too much with that. So you'll be struggling with where these go. It's going to be frustrating for you. So you're going to put yours here and you're going to see how that changes the angles of this and this. Okay. I think it's just easier. All right, who just did that? Leela, let me take a look. Mhm. Leela, I think you need to bring out this line a little bit. It's a little bit wider here. It's
should-
the same.
Towards
So
the,
you put your dot here.
yeah.
It
Okay.
should be over here. It
bit
should
wider.
be the same height, width as it is height.
Okay.
There, right? That'll make a big difference in how your windows look. So everybody get there. Now, for those who are kind of jumping forward, I'm going to sketch in the next set of lines. So the lines, while the sides of the windows are slanted and each one slanted at a different angle, the horizontal lines are all straight across. There's no slanting. So as you kind of locate your first window, you can start with a line that goes down at the bottom like this. I'm just making sure you can see it. Just very, yeah, down at the bottom. And that's, now you see you have the bottom, you have the sides, and now we have to determine the top and where the next set of windows goes. That's tricky because this windows, although they are the same size, look at how squashed in they are. They're like half the size. So we're going to have to do some figuring to figure out where to put these and that. And in fact, if I look here, I'm just wondering if this will help us. From here to here, oh, look at that. 2, 3. Well, this makes things easy. From my proportions, the second window starts 1/3 of the way down, not from the halfway point, but from here to here. So I can locate here. Three, yep, 1, 2, 3. I can locate from the top of the building about 1/3 of the way down from the top of the building to the end here. This is where my second set of windows starts. So I know this is a lot. When you get to these horizontal lines, please check with me. Let's see. You know, drawing and painting are tedious. Let's see. Agatha, can you turn it around so I can see it from the front? I can't rotate it. Please rotate it so it's looking up at me. Resend it and then I will. I can't do it from here because I'm using WhatsApp on my computer. And it doesn't give me capacity. There we go. Thank you. All right. Not bad. Looks good to me. Keep going.
Okay.
Get your other ones here. They look excellent. Oh, I can see that I think I brought this too narrow. So don't despair. You're not the only one struggling to get my things in the right place. I need to move this out a little bit to the left. So just easily, I move my dot a little bit to the left when I'm trying to adjust things. I still go to this dot up here, or my center dot if I'm going straight to the vanishing point. Look what happens when I go straight to the vanishing point from here. It does change. I'm just gonna add it in here. It does change things a little bit. Can you see? But I'm okay if you do it either way. It will change the slant of things, but that's not too bad. You can do it either way. If it's easier to have a vanishing point exactly in the middle, just use the one vanishing point. The fact. Hey, Bobby, if this makes you feel better, I think this guy's too far out too. So here. See, I made that mistake too. I'm moving these in. I'm erasing both of these lines. Sometimes you don't really know until you lay it down what exactly is right and what's wrong. And I think that's hard for people to wrap their minds around. There's a certain kind of person who wants to be right. And in my experience, you really don't figure out the vagaries of okay, so you can kind of see it. See how mine corrected a little bit? So when you get to this point, let me take a look at it. I'll check your trajectories and we'll see. Hold on. Bobby, once again, are you taking a picture of it straight up and down? It doesn't look like it. Take a picture straight up and down. When you send me something that you take a picture from the side, it slants and I can't check it. Straight up and down. Thank you. Particularly with something like this. So anyway, drawing is not easy, or let's put it this way. Drawing is doable, but it's tedious. And this tedium that I'm making you go through right now is absolutely necessary to be able to draw well. And it's not, none of you are trained in how to do it. So don't be surprised if it doesn't come easy to you. And don't be surprised if I correct you. I'm able to correct you visually because I've been doing this 25 years now, and my sense of how much space things take up on the paper is very refined. It's also true that I've painted this many times, so I can really look at it and see it. You do not have that advantage. So you're learning this for the first time. Just notice when you make things too big, too small. Notice what's happening. Here, let's see. I think, Bonvi, you're missing a center piece here. You're missing this line. Do you see that?
Yeah, I thought some of it was too broad.
What's that?
I thought this was too wide. as well. So like,
There is a space, if you count the number of tracks there are, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
mm,
and you have 4.
yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4. So you've missed a line here, so please get that in. Excellent, Agatha. I like it. Good, good, good. Okay, so now Agatha, you're gonna get your horizontal line in here, which is pretty close to the bottom. And then you're going to pull in this horizontal line about 1/3 of the way from here down to here. 1/3. That means if you divide this equally into thirds, that's where your top set of windows is going to start. Got that? So this is about 1/3 down from the top of the building. This is almost at the bottom of the building. And this will be your bottom window set, and this will be your top window set, the bottom of your top window set. And notice it's like almost exactly a little bit, well, we haven't got the top yet here, so you'll see that these windows are kind of about half the vertical distance of these windows. Which is what happens when you move away from someone. All right, let's see. Leela, good. This one is too wide. Can you see that? If you look at these shapes,
Yeah.
my shapes and yours are very skinny.
Oh, okay.
Yours
Okay,
look like that.
The middle window, is it too fat?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
So I need to go narrower with the middle window.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay.
And the way I'm looking at it is I'm looking at this shape, right? And you can very clearly see it.
I just removed
Your-
that the center line. Is it okay with where it is, or should I thought maybe I should shift it up a bit.
The center line?
The line that is below
This one?
the top windows. The one above that?
Let me look. It's not in the right place. This has
Yeah.
to be 1/3 of the
Okay.
way down. It needs to go up.
And is it 1/3 of the way from the
Here to here,
top of the roof, or from the
the
bottom
top of the roof,
the top of the roof? Okay.
the top of the roof. So number one, you need to make this narrower so that these spaces read as wider between the windows. So this is what I mean by you have to think about not only what you're drawing, but what's next to what you're drawing. Do you see that? And do you see how all of you are forgetting that? And so another rookie mistake. It's okay. But this is a classic rookie mistake. We forget to think about this space when we're putting in this shape. It's easy to get lost and confused, don't get me wrong. But yes, good eye, Leela, in being able to see that this is 1/3 of the way down and you had it too low. I would say also your shape up here, your line down here should come up like twice, like a little bit higher too.
Okay.
Can you see? So look at this shape. Look at the shape next to what you're drawing. Look at how much space we want, right? Between those things. That's what you're all kind of forgetting as you're working on this. Very normal, but I'm trying to train you into looking at the shape below. If I add this line in, I want to make sure that this much space is available underneath. It's just a hyper focus. Okay, Anik. Nope. Let me look. Hold on. Let me look. Maybe not, but here, hold on. Let me look. I'm afraid you went a little
flatter in my case.
hold on. I'll see. Where are you? And then Christina, I'll look at yours. Actually, I'm gonna let that slide. Yes, that looks good. Now remember, you're from the top of here. Here, let me add this in. So Ani, because you're ahead, I'm gonna have you add this line in. And we're gonna draw this as a straight line, and then you're gonna see the relationship of the curve that's happening. Right?
Yeah. Yes, yes.
So
You're
please
right.
don't forget
Mm-hmm.
that. Right? It comes up to about here, comes over and down, curves on either side. So don't forget that when you're doing this. I
Right.
know this is so tedious. I'm so sorry, you guys, but this is, if you can embrace this tedium, you're going to go a lot, very far and very fast in drawing.
Mm.
Um, yes. And in fact, if this is here, I can lay that one down too. I'm going to lay this one down just a little bit below that one. But you'll see, once we get this, we locate the points, the ways, right? Then I know. You can kind of add those in. Kind of adding those shapes in just to help me see kind of that relationship. All right, let me look at yours, Christine. Much better. Here, hold on. Dang it. Somehow I clicked it too big. Christina, this is way too high. You have this point up here, or up here, I'd say. I don't know what's going on there. Way too high.
Oh,
So
the halfway point?
observe. Do you see that? This point is down here, but you have it up here.
So it's not halfway in
No,
the of the paper?
no, absolutely not. Nope. Nope. It is absolutely not. It's 1/3. It's this point here is way down here. It's just slightly higher than this point. It's about like that much higher.
So the
You
half
need to, this point you have here, which is driving this line this way, needs to come down here. Erase this line on the side and put the point in the right.
oh. Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. Let's see. Leela, I would say the same for you. This needs to, and do you see how your window looks a little bit fat on this side? This
Just
also needs
so the right hand side, my
to come, your point is too high. It's
be
like up here.
narrower. Okay.
Yeah, it needs to come down. And notice what that does to your windows. It makes this window totally fatter than what's happening on this side. And kind of what's happening in the middle. The biggest window is going to be this one in the center. This is the biggest and the widest across. The rest of these are narrower. So when you've got a big, wide, it's the same thing Christina did, except hers was even way up here. So, you know, this window won't look right because it's way too high.
Is it just
Good job,
my
you guys. You're doing it. You're plugging through. You're doing it. I just want to say, doing great.
is it just my right side window that was
That's your
too-
right side window, this point,
Okay.
the one I'm pointing at. You have it up here. You can see because when you draw your line, it makes a shape like this against your other lines. And really, it needs to make a shape like this. So once again, Leela, I'm going to push you because I think you're close. I want you to look at every space around the space that you're drawing to make sure that I've got this shape as well as that shape. You see what I'm saying? I want you to think about negative space more because I think you're ready for it. And I think that's the only place you're stumbling is negative space. Of course, you also, yes. And Bombi, that looks, let me look. One. Okay, I'm going to tell you the same thing, Bombi. This is way too high. You need to bring this point. So please erase both these lines, right? Erase this line and erase this line. And then this comes down And this point comes out a little bit to the left. So your points are here and here. And that really warps the shape of this window. This has to be here and here. I'll show you with a marker. Your point, Bombi, is here and here. That's not correct. It should be here and here. There you go. Close though. Getting there. Getting there. I get, let's see. Yeah, that looks pretty good. That looks good. That looks good, Agatha. Very good. Once, of course, you've gotten, let's figure out where this last line is. And then you can start doing your horizontals across. I'm going to run it kind of right. So here's the top. You'll see that your top up here will kind of run a little bit higher, right? These little curves. Your top will be, for your windows here, will be about here. Actually, this is at the halfway point. So that's the one easy line you're going to get. The top of these windows is exactly at the halfway point. So top of the windows goes here. Agatha, I think you can go on from here because now you'll see that just like the insides, your right? These also, I'm going to do this because they're kind of internal lines and they're not top and bottom lines. These also line up across. And so same here. Although here's where you can see my what do you call it? Amateurness, because I painted this so many years ago. I don't have them lined up, but I should. So really. See that? So you can do that. You can figure out where those lines are across, and then you can start filling in the blanks with everything else. Notice that, well, down here, this is kind of from here to here about halfway, right? This line up here, just like when we were looking at that cup last week, this is not halfway between here and here. This becomes more, the part that's closer to us becomes wider, and the part that's going farther away from us becomes smaller. Although these are halfway points, in this particular case, because this is going away from us, this side seems more extended. This side seems more squat. Wider, but shorter. You guys are totally getting there. Okay, let's see. Christina. Much better. Yep. Okay, Christina. Lay down these two lines here and here. And then you're ready to rock and roll. I think from here you'll see, oh my God, this is easy. But like before that, draw these in, and I'm going to draw this. Because now you have the start and the end. So it's tedious. Don't get me wrong. Art is so tedious to get it right. It's like being an engineer or something. But Here to here, I can find the halfway point. The top of the window to the bottom window there. Halfway point. I can use this to start sketching in. Once I've got those tracks in the right place, I promise you next drawing lesson is going to feel so easy by comparison. You guys are going to be like, thank God. And by the way, these sides also go to a vanishing point, right? The insides of the window. Right? Everything goes to this single vanishing point. It even might put it out a little bit. Same here. You see how that vanishing point starts to work for you and become less tedious once you've got these initial pieces out, whether you're using one vanishing point or these cute little multiples close to the vanishing point at the top. Let me take a look. Right. Oh, much better, Bombi. Much better. Okay. Add in, let's see. I think you're going to need to bring your top down, this line down a little bit. And then put this line in, which is up from the bottom about this much. So put in this line and bring this line down. This is like kind of your eaves roof line. And then you're ready to start adding in these other lines. Good job. Excellent job. Leela, great. See how much nicer those all look now? All right. So now you'll find from here to here. So from here to here, you'll find that this line goes through the halfway point of this space. From here to here, this is 1/2. And then that goes across. And then you've got the location of everything. Then you're going to see this gets a lot easier. Then you're going to do a lot of erasing for all this stuff you don't need. My windows are kind of starting to sketch themselves out. Now you've got this in the chat, this picture, so you can, once you start to sketch them, you can start to add some of the light and dark details. See, I've got my windows. I can see that. These are light here, right? And that it's dark down here. and lighter on the top. Right. Thank you for keeping on sending these across, you guys. These are going great. Let's see. And you're doing great, all of you. Anik, you've lost your space in the middle here. See that? This comes down a little too low.
Yeah, right.
Bring it
So,
up, please.
mhm.
Yep, bring it up. It's much, things are much more, in fact, I think you just put it in the wrong place, so pay attention. I do want to see these relationships. The space between the windows needs to exist. But you're close. Right? I can do this. God, I hate the pencil. This is where I don't find the pencil fun at all. I'm like, oh, I really wish I could paint this, but I don't hate the pencil. Sorry, pencil. I don't hate. I like you. You're a helpful tool. But it's not my favorite tool, right? So these are lighter. This is kind of more light up here. This has a little tree shadow. You can maybe lighten in here. And then add in your little tree shadow if you want to. There was this beautiful chestnut tree. You can see the leaves from out here. I could see from my bedroom. This is a wonderful time. I'm glad I live where I live now, but I'm glad I had the opportunity to live in New York in such splendor. I shouldn't have been able to, but I was lucky. See how I'm starting to like get these guys in. There's a couple of other lines. Let's get you in here. Bring you. If you're working with more than one, your vanishing point coming off the page, this line really, that's that point for the edge of the building. And so this starts right here and it ends right here. Maybe a little bit closer. But now you've got a lot of points to evaluate, so it's easier, should become a little bit easier. So this is the side of the building. You can sketch in like these things. Here is this roof coming out this way, right? You've got this coming this way. The side of the roof is kind of dark up here because it's facing away. Right, see how I'm starting to get these in? This is awesome. You guys are just keeping them coming. Yeah, Bombi, great. Now locate this one, which is about 1/3 of the way down. So the top of this line is about 1/3 of the way down from the top of the roof to the bottom of the page. Got that? Top of the roof, bottom of the page. This line is about 1/3 of the way down. Maybe a little bit more. No.
And top of the roof will be the top line here.
Yes,
or-
the top of the roof is the top line, so not at the halfway point. You can find, actually this line, sorry, this line here, this is 1/3 of the way down.
Okay.
2, 3. And then once you've got that, it's a little bit easier to put this one in, right? Because you can just kind of see the distance. So this one, sorry, this top one here is 1/3 of the way down from the top of the roof to the bottom of the building. When you get that in, you'll have the bottom of your top windows, and then you can add in the top of your bottom windows.
Okay.
You guys are killing it. Leela, beautiful. I'm looking. Are these lined up, Leela?
Which
Is
one?
this line, these should all be lined up.
Yeah. They're on the same.
Okay.
They're the same.
So this looks, something's off because this should be halfway from here to here. From the bottom of this sill here up to here, this should be the halfway point. And yours are slightly,
That window's still looking a bit chunky.
yeah, so you might want to bring it in a little bit more.
Okay.
Yeah, but also bring this line down just a little bit. You're also using different proportions, I think, than I am, even though you're using the same orientation. I'm actually trying to decide. You know what? Just keep it here. That's okay. Keep it here. You can make this a little bit narrower if you want to.
Yeah,
You
okay.
can make these lines a little narrower. You can keep this here.
Okay.
And the reason I say that is because your proportions, you have less space than I do in this proportion, right? It's the same horizontal orientation, but the ratio from this to this is different. So yeah, just keep it where it is. These lines, these horizontal lines can stay. But yeah, narrow
Make it
this
a
a
bit
little bit.
narrower. Cool.
Yeah, but and then you can see it, right? You can see it better. Good eye, by the way. Excellent eye. Agatha, looking good. Looking good. Looking good. Yep. Just keep on going. So, Agatha, only thing I'm worried about is I feel like this window is too short. Oh yeah, I know. This window comes down to here. You have stopped your window here. It actually comes down to here. See that? You've got the line in, you just didn't go all the way down.
Yeah, that was the top part of it.
Yeah, the top part of it. That's the only thing I was looking at. Otherwise, this looks great. Keep going. You're
Yeah.
on roll.
The
You guys are getting it. You're getting it. Yay! Oh my God, this is
The
fantastic.
the arches are really difficult for me.
Yep.
Getting the
Yep.
angles and making them
nice.
look flat is hard.
What's
The
that?
arches. Making the arches look flat, not that they're sticking out, is really hard.
Yeah. It's because you're doing it's the only curved lines you're drawing. And the curved lines are much less extreme than you think. So what you're doing is kind of struggling, what you're struggling with, it's the real struggle. It's always the struggle. Anik, that looks great. Is that you want to curve this more than it is. It's like, think of it as like 3 straight lines instead, and it will be easier. See how I'm drawing these straight lines? It will be easier for you to get that. And then you can gently curve it. But otherwise, it's going to be very easy to make these too dramatically curved. And if you want to, these are bricks. So you can also kind of draw. These, of course, will also follow, right? They're bricks. You want to. Just if you want to. But you guys are getting it. It's looking fantastic. I am super, super impressed. Christina, let me see. So Christina, I think you have the opposite problem of that Leela was talking about. I think your middle window is a little too narrow. So can you scoot it out just a little bit on either side? This
Okay.
side to the right, this side to the left, but it's looking great. Don't get me wrong. You're almost there. Notice that this window is the biggest window.
Mm-mm.
It's the widest because we're standing the closest to it when we're looking at it.
Okay.
These windows are all a little bit narrower, and of course, these are much narrower. So just widen this out. Can you see that this doesn't look quite right?
Yeah.
So it's because it's not wide enough here at the base. So just widen that out a little bit. But you can see that the fix is easy, right? So, oh my God. Okay. So here's what I'm excited about as I'm watching you work. you all, this was a big struggle to get to this point, but now you're all at the point where you've got all your, and then it's going to be very easy for you to finish this drawing. And you're all getting it. You guys are getting it. It's great. This is an extremely hard lesson, but I think it teaches a lot of things. One of those things is how to kind of judge, are things too big or too small? You know what I mean? Like you're learning to judge how much space things take out on the paper. And the challenge of working on a paper is that you've got to think about the thing that's here as well as the thing that's here. You have to think about what's happening here as well as what's happening here. And so it's a very relative, it's a very relational setup. So, and our left brain doesn't like to do this. Our left brain likes to focus on one thing and do it. And the problem is your right brain has to see how all the pieces fit together. That's visual spatial. You a little bit are doing it when you're doing a puzzle. The thing about puzzles is they're all the same size pieces, right? So you're not, but what you're doing in right brain, which I can see you all starting to do, is shift from just thinking about the window to thinking about the spaces between the window. And that's why Leela can say with confidence, I feel like this is a little bit too wide, right? Because you're looking at what's happening here, and you're also looking at the relation of this window to that window. So great work. That's really all it is. And you might, I often in my sessions after my work and my painting studio time, even after doing this for 25 years, I kid you not, 3 hours working on 2 cars that took up only this much space in the composition. 2 cars. It took me 3 hours to make sure that the relationships were right, that they were in the right place. Cars have extremely terrible, perspective issues because you can see like 6 sides of a car and you've got to get each one. It's a nightmare. They're not fun at all. There you go. That looks better. Look, see how much better that looks?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Keep going. I think you've got the pieces to keep on going. So I want to be really clear that I can spend hours on a tiny part of a painting trying to get the drawing right. I wish I had might have taken a picture of it. I'll see if I can, I'm going to pull this down for just a second and see if I can show you what I'm talking about. I don't even think after 2 hours I got it right, but I think I got it right enough that I'll be able to correct it today when I go in. I'm going to turn this off. Let me see if I took a picture of that. Hold on, Bombi. I'll take a look in just a second. I want you to see that this is a struggle for me too, I guess is what I'm trying to say. It's always a struggle. This kind of figuring the out or parameters, figuring out where things are in relation to each other, getting the angles right. It's really hard, but it's so worth it. I am not sure, Bonvi, what this, okay, I'm going to tell you in just a second. Let me look for the photo and then I'll see if I can do this for you. Here, hold on. Photos. I want you to take a break for just a second. Oh, yeah. Here it is. I don't even think I did it. Did I? Did I take another picture? No. No, I spent another 2 hours after this session. Hang on. Did I take pictures? I might not have even taken pictures because I was so frustrated. Yep, nope, I didn't even take pictures. I'll show you kind of where it is in the before stage, but you'll see how much time I've spent, like 4 hours on this area because I'm still struggling to get it right. Here. Let's see. Let's Sunday. I'm just sending this to see. The struggle's real. All right, Bonvi, I'm confused about what line is what. So that's what I'm going to ask you in a second. Maybe you are also. That's valid. Okay. So I don't know. Sorry, I scooted this over so you can't actually see the edge. Let's do this. Let me look. Okay. So, Bombi, what I'm confused at is I don't know. Here, I'm going to pop it up here. Yeah, something's wrong. I'm going to pop it up and show you which line. I don't know what it is. You'll need to tell me what it is. Share. I don't know what this line is. Is this the top of the bottom windows? Is it the bottom of the top windows? What is this line?
The bottom of the top windows.
Okay, then what's this line? Do you see the problem?
Yeah.
Okay. So the bottom of the top windows might be good, but then you need to erase that line underneath and give
Mhm.
yourself this line, right?
Okay.
Yeah. So erase that bottom line. Okay. Thank you. That's helpful. That's helpful. Oh yeah. And that's just my painting and I don't even have it right. It's not even right. It's an important part of the composition because in this particular painting, I'll show you. Yeah, this is before I spent 2 hours on it, actually. Leela, nice. That looks great. Just keep on going. Add your darks and your lights. Work on your bottom windows first since you've got those sketched out and get some satisfaction there. And then keep on going. Good job, you guys. You're getting it. You're getting it. I'm so proud of you. I'm so impressed. I know this is a whip cracking kind of exercise, but can you feel the learning happening?
Can I ask about so the side windows, their little like top, the bricks that form that like circle on the top, not circle, half kind of, yeah,
This thing?
yes, but on the bottom floor and on the far left and the far right, I'm not
Mhm.
sure how the shape is on the left. I'm gonna
It's
send
about the same as the shape that's on the right.
I'm gonna send a photo so you know what I mean.
Okay, got it. I know it's so hard to put words on these things, isn't it? This is why most artists are terrible teachers. Most artists cannot remotely explain what's going on. I'm drawing these so you can see what's happening. The key here, Layla, is to look at this line, which is the top, and notice that unlike this line, where this is the exact top of the curve, your curve over here comes above this line. See that? Which affects, it's just a slight curve. Slight curve.
But I don't
Slight.
know whether that the curve on the outside is different to the curve in the center. I'm sending it now.
Okay, send it over.
Um,
I'll take a look.
the right group. So the ones on the so the ones on the outsides, I don't know
These
whether,
ones here and here.
yeah, and yes, and
Do
especially
this.
not the ones even closer to the middle window, but literally the ones on each side
side.
of the page. Are those shapes quite different? Do you know
No.
what I mean? Because of perspective, like
Oh,
how
yes, they're a little bit different because this angle, I'm not exactly, this is a slightly more angled than this one. But I think you're
I don't know.
you're
Overthinking.
overstressing the import. I think you're
Yeah.
overstressing the importance of this. Is
Okay.
what I would tell you. You're focusing on the detail, which is not, don't solve it right now.
Okay, great.
You're not in a position to be able to solve it. However, what I would but what I would say is get this line. This will help you, right? Because this is a straight line.
Mhm.
Right? That will help you because that straight line is the top of the window, and then you'll be able to get those curve shapes. But do you see that focusing on that's a very left brain thing to do, to get hyper focused on this. When you're struggling to see a little tiny detail, it's probably because you don't have this detail in yet.
Okay.
You don't have this grounding line. But it's a great question. Don't get me wrong. Fantastic question. Because you're like, and actually, as I sketch this, I can see, oh yeah, I need to pull this up a little bit. This is actually kind of, it connects down to here a little bit more. So this will be the last thing you'll really get in shape. But if you get that line, that will help you get these. Do you see that?
Yeah. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. Yeah. I was talking a little bit about this as well. All right, that's better, Bumpy. Better, better, better. Yeah, I like it. Okay, so now you can start adding in your inner lines. The top line that you have here, right? That one that's like very narrow in between here and here. You don't have to draw these in right away, but this is the curve. If you want to, instead of doing this, you can just sketch this line in. So you see the space. So just get this, right? Does this help also, Leela, to look at it like this? So here's the space between here and here. I can add one more line down here, straight across like that, which will help me shape these.
You mean add another
Work it.
or just
Add another line straight across. See that? And it comes down a little bit farther than the space between here and here. See that? Can you evaluate these two spaces between them? And that's the top of the flat part of the window. And then the curve comes in between here and here.
okay.
Yeah, that's how you do it. Thank you, Leela, because that is actually, and Agatha, you were referring to it as well. And I'm now picking up exactly what the trouble is. You're right. We need the flats. We need the flat horizontals first before we can do any of the curve stuff. Once we get all the flat horizontals in here, 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 and here, right? We get these in. This is kind of the more straightforward. Then we can add in these curves on top because we'll have another little space here, which indicates kind of where those are. And I can help evaluate that. It was missing this line. So thank you guys. That's great. You're doing great. Oh, I like your little markers too, Leela. So I like this. I like the specificity. It's very good. You guys are doing amazing. And as struggle bussy as it is, what you'll find is ultimately it's easier. Trying to do this without this is impossible. Without this concept is very, very extremely hard and frustrating. But y'all are doing amazing. Learning curve, huge in this one. My hat's off to you. Although this class won't go on past March, I would invite any of you to join watercolor or at acrylic painting. I think you would all be ready to do that with your drawing skills in place. Next year, I will look for more funding to extend beginning drawing a little bit longer. Now I have a sense of how much time, how much it works, but or we will I may do a new beginning drawing session that starts at the beginning in October, or I may extend this one. We'll see. There'll be one more drawing session in October and go from October to November, through November, the end of November. But I would invite you guys to join these the painting classes, because we've got those on Saturday, the same time as this class, and one on Friday. That might be a little late for you, Bonvi, because it's an hour later than this class starts. But if, anyway, I would encourage you to jump in.
Has the acrylics class started already?
What's that?
Have the acrylics classes started already?
They started at the same time your class did.
Okay.
Yeah, but everything's recorded. So you could actually do a recording while being in the acrylics class, or you could see how you did. We're diving in a little later. I am happy to send anybody. I'm going to send a note out to all of you. To once this first block of classes end, to offer anybody the links to all the classes. Yeah, they've been going 6 weeks. The nice thing about acrylics is it goes all year, pretty much, with little breaks in between. I'll send out all that info and all the different, I want to wait until these classes end so I can let people jump into the second kind of group of classes, which will start at the beginning of April. So I'll send out all that info as well. Sorry here. Anybody? Nice, Anik. That's really coming along nicely. Very nice. There you go, Bonvi. You got it. You got it. Perfect, Bonvi. Start drawing your windows. Start drawing your bottom windows. It'll be satisfying. Put in the curves last. That's perfect. Anik, that's looking gorgeous. Is this helpful? I know, Anik, you've done this before, right? This lesson?
Not this one, but in general, we had this class with Jessica Pryor about the perspective and things of that kind.
Right.
And I bought
Right.
me the book, and the Perspective Made Easy years ago.
Right.
And but honestly, I find this very, very useful every single time, because every
Right.
exercise, it's really, really helpful. It's easier to think about later on about the painting, what is where, and how to place it.
Where
And
are things? Yeah.
then in problem
It's
solving,
this,
it's perfect. It's always good.
it's vision. What I like to think of when because most of the problem solvings you're going to do in your paintings is not about painting, it's about drawing.
Mhm.
You won't have your
Yep.
drawing correct.
Yeah.
And what I like to do is sort of tell myself, what I think is happening here is not really happening here, right? I think this should take up more space than it really does. I think this should be bigger or smaller than it really is. And once you kind of get a sense of that, I should be thinking about what's next to what I'm trying to draw, as well as what I'm working on. And that is so huge. Let's see,
Yeah.
Christina. Okay, so Christina, I would say I like what's happening on your bottom windows, except that your curve is coming up too high. On the bottom windows, the curve comes right up to this line. Do you see that there's a space of this much between the top of the curve? So you're doing this. You need to stop your curve right here. Got it? Hello?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to assume you heard me.
Yes.
That's smaller, right? Because, and that's exactly what I was just telling Anik is you lost this space
Uh-huh.
between here by
Right.
pushing the curve too high.
I think
And you
that's
have to think
the
about
mistake.
this space between as well as both the windows.
Right.
Yep. It's okay. It's a very easy fix. Good job, guys. You're killing it. There's a point where I stopped doing this because I really think you're getting it. And also because I painted this so many times, it's a little boring to me. Like not, but also because once I feel like you've got the spaces, it's going to be easier for you to do these things. And then you can ask things like what Leela said about specifics about how do I get this exactly right? And let's see. Speaking of Leela. Hey, is it Leela or is it Layla? Or is it either?
Either way, it's fine. My aunt
Oh,
called
yeah, yeah, yeah. Bring that down.
Lila.
So,
Yeah, I made the same mistake.
yep, that's okay, but that's an easy mistake to fix. What you didn't do is add the line in that I told you to add, which is here. Wait, here, I'm going to pop it in and show you.
Okay.
Because the fix is easy. Yeah, if you don't mind, can I pop it up just to show everybody?
Yeah, of course.
The fix is easy because you didn't put in this line. There's a line down here that indicates the top of the windows, and it's in between here and here. See that? That
Yeah.
makes sense. So put that flat line in. Oops, sorry, I
Do
lost
you
it.
think the my top windows are actually too long? Like they come down
Nope,
low?
nope, I
Okay,
do
so
not.
that size is
Just
fine.
have to preserve that space in between.
Okay, got
This
it.
is too high. So this is too high.
Okay.
And what you need is a line that comes here. I'll point it out here. What you need is this line.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And we talked about it, but then you didn't do it, right? So that's what kept you confused, is that we talked about it, but we didn't give you that space. And if you look at the relationship of this space, which is the between spaces, and this space, which is the space between here and here, it's slightly longer, but not much. If you have this line, then you know where to contain your curve.
Okay.
Yeah,
Makes
but it's easy to see, right? Like that's what I want you, the victory here, Leela, is you're like, oh, wait a minute, right? I lost this, right?
Yeah.
And it's so easy to do. It's like so easy. I mean, what is this space? It's like 3 millimeters. It's not that much space, but it makes a massive difference on this piece of paper. This space, if we don't have it, like is a huge, same as these spaces between like here and here, right? If we have this, it makes a really huge difference. So yeah, it's like this is drawing. You lay it down, then you're like, ah, shit, this isn't right. I mean, I don't know if you saw me. I tried to point it out as I was doing it. I made several mistakes too. I had this in the wrong place and this in the wrong place. I had this in the wrong place and this in the wrong place. And then I had to make this a little bit narrower. So I did these mistakes too. And I've done this a million times. So it's not like you ever quite get over it. You just get better at catching it. And the way we do it is to look at the spaces next to what I'm drawing. It's almost always a problem with what's happening next to the subject. So if the subject is the window, this space is key, right? The subject is the two windows. This space is still key because we need it in between. And you can tell you're off if you haven't got it. It's so tedious. It's like so tedious. Oh my God, is it tedious? It's tedious, but it's what makes it doable. And actually, for people as and quick and smart as you all, this is the only way to get your brain kind of slowed down and really focusing and using all your brain. That's why this is tiring, and that's why we miss it, and that's why we get confused, and that's why we add lines in the wrong places and all of that stuff. This is kind of exhausting. But it gets better. It gets better. And this practice is, you will find, is going to be very helpful. I found, because I was a journalist for 10 years before I became an artist. And I found that the moment I really started learning to draw in that first 3 years, my journalism got so much better. My writing got better. My ability to elucidate what was happening got much more refined in a room. And I think this is a skill that translates to everything you do. I like to say I never struggled with the lead again. And I like to say I can usually figure out in a murder mystery who's done it in the first 10 minutes, like if it's a movie, or the first 20 pages if it's a book. So because you start to be able to see how like something is being constructed to push you one way or the other. And you can see how that applies. How when we construct words and ideas and concepts together, you can see how there's also a spacing and a timing that needs to happen. It's great.
I can just
I know
confirm.
that's my, yeah. Really?
Yeah. I was
I mean,
just
do you
saying,
think
I
you've
know.
become a better
I
trainer on this?
I think it's a really, really, really it's a wonderful exercise, because what you said about the fact that when the one is drawing or painting, you engage more brain and different parts of the brain. Like you, as if you're using the whole one. It's just
Bonvi.
translating to everything later on, really.
All right. All right. We've got another rookie mistake here, and I'm going to show you what it is. Bomvi, you lost. You lost it. Here, but easy to fix. Easy to fix. I'm sorry. I'm going to call this up to show because I gotta. You forgot some lines. And let me show you because it doesn't look right, right? I'm just confirming with you. It doesn't look right. Those bottom windows, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what's the problem? I'm about to show you. You made these lines straight up and down. Do you see that? They follow the window. They also go to the vanishing point. See that?
Yeah.
They also go to the vanishing point because they're all going the same direction. Please erase these, this, and this, and this, and make them go at an angle.
Okay.
So everything that is in this direction, right, that's going up and down is angled. And everything that's vertical is angled. And everything that's horizontal is straight.
Okay.
Got it?
Yeah.
Easy fix. But you're like, why? What's happening here? This is why. This is my little thing that shows me where I put things, right? And if it's falling outside, then I know I'm not doing something right, right? This is the container for each window. Thank you for illustrating that. I hate to like, I mean, well, everybody here is like struggled, so it's okay. You're all just struggling along as you're doing it. You'll get it. You're like, phew, finally I get to stop with those angled lines, but no. There's more. Really, what you're looking at are directions. So these lines, these vertical lines are all going the same direction. They're going up, right? So in this particular case, the verticals are all slanted. They're all slanted because we're looking at them. It is true that the way we did it before, our verticals were actually straight. And so were our horizontals. And the tops and the bottoms of the verticals were what? Right? Like how we worked with a single vanishing point, but this is a little different because we're going up. So as things go away from us, they get smaller and narrower, just like that road. Yeah, this is exactly a road vanishing point type of situation. Everything going this way, everything going vertical is angled, and it follows these angles. And none of these angles are the same. It's maddening. So if you try to do it without a vanishing point, it'll take you forever. But if you do it with a vanishing point, you can get it done in 2 hours, which is what we're gonna do. We have about 20 more minutes left in class. You're welcome to stay and keep working on this. Lado is not going to be there today, but Deanna often offered to open the chats, or so she's just going to jump on. I'm going to give it to her, and then I'm going to run off to my next class. We've got 20 minutes, so not quite yet.
Thanks, Leah. I'm gonna pop off now if that's okay. Take some medication. Are you there? No, she's not there.
How we doing? Maybe there's other.
I feel like I'm missing a line for the top windows. Like,
Well, then put it in. Where do you think it should go?
I'm not sure.
You mean this one?
No, where the top of the curve should be. I think I'm missing that.
Then put that in.
Yeah,
It's this roof.
yeah, I'm not sure whether to put the roof.
You're not going to move the roof. You're just
Okay.
going to put in this line. So look at the distance between here and here and try to assess that. I think what you're working on, you're making the same mistake Leela did, which is you're trying to add the curves in before you put the line in. Please put the line in and then think about where that curve goes in relation to that line. What you're looking for is this line. And I've now worked with you long enough on this, right, today, that you should be able to assess where this line goes. Put this line in first, then deal with, yes, my cat did do that to me. Put that line in. Stop thinking about the curves. Just ignore them and put this line in. And then you'll be able to see where to put the curves. Got it?
Yeah, I have
What's-
that line.
Then you don't have a problem.
I think I was putting the curve too high.
This one, as you can see very clearly here,
Right.
comes
It's
slightly over.
Okay.
So maybe the line you're talking about is this one. I'll put it in for you now. Yeah. Maybe it's this line.
Yeah. It's the little
So
one.
put that line in. There you go. It does come a little bit above the line here because we're a little bit farther up and the angle is more extreme. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be difficult. I'm just trying to get you to get words on what you're missing, right? This is the problem solving. So you need to add this line in and that will help you figure out where to put your curve. That's like the top of this square part of the window, the flat part of the window. It's right there, that line. And you can see it's not very far underneath here. All right, it's pretty close. Does that help?
Yeah.
Does that help, Christina?
A little. I think so.
But the kind of general principle brought up by both Christina and with Layla is that, and Agatha, is that these are hard to draw unless we also have a top and bottom perimeter for it.
Yeah.
A top and bottom. So you need to get that in first. And I didn't put those in. So that's a fair question. But the bigger question is you need these before you can draw these.
Yes.
Because this bottom line will give you an anchor and the top, right, about where you stop and start those.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we need the space for those too. Good job. That was the one line, Christina, I hadn't put in. So good eye. You were missing a line. I didn't put it in. I didn't put them in because I wanted to make sure. I knew if we had too many lines all at the same time, it would get really confusing. You kind of add these in when you're ready to start the curve, right? You put them in later so that you don't get too confused by all the horizontals. It's easy to get confused by the horizontals.
Leah, I'm gonna pop off. Thank you so much.
Great work today.
Thank you. I'm gonna try this again during the week. I do have a
excellent.
question about dimensions because you've done it on an on A4, right?
I did it as a 3 by 4 foot painting.
As a 3 by 4. Okay, so doing it on
Mhm.
a kind of standard A4 page or an A3 page is actually not going to help in terms of visually not understanding, but visually
A4
interpreting
will
the
be better.
dimensions, because your dimensions of the original painting is very different to an A3 or an A4.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay.
Exact. It's not, well, okay, let me answer that. This is exactly an A4 size,
Okay.
this particular version of this painting.
Mm.
But the original version was 3 by 4 feet.
Yeah, that you sent us in the WhatsApp group. That's 3 by 4.
No, that one's this one.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, yeah, that one's this one. So the dimensions of this are exactly A4.
Okay.
If you want to get the exact measurements, I think everybody did pretty good with their varying dimensions, as long as you stayed
Mm.
wider, horizontal, narrower, right?
Mm.
Yeah, but try it on an A4 piece of paper to get the exact measurements, if that's what you want.
Yeah, I'm working on an A3 pad. So things
Yeah,
will feel very, very small. If they're small,
they're
they
scrunched up.
feel like
They're
so
more
tiny.
scrunched up.
Yeah,
It's shorter here
yeah.
proportionally than it is across. So you have something that's a little bit more like, I'm not going to say size wise, but I'm going to say
Yeah.
proportionally,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
It's more like that, which
yeah,
isn't the
yeah.
same proportions. Yeah.
Mm.
I mean, we're going to run into that. I'm
Yeah.
trying to give you, yes. So in these measurements,
Mm.
that's why we will have some kind of variation in our windows, but I still think A3 worked for you, but you did have to adjust a little bit how wide things were, how narrow
Yeah.
things were. You couldn't quite use the same proportions that I did, but you could still eyeball them and find them on this type of assignment. Most of the time I'm going to have you guys, and we're going to move to more live subjects next week. In fact, we might move to a real coffee cup, but it'll be much easier, I promise. It'll be a much easier coffee cup than the dumb coffee cup with the saucer and the ridiculous shadow and all of that stuff. But one of the things we'll be talking, yeah, but that is something to kind of consider. But what I've learned now as a teacher is that I only have a kind of limited use for my 2D subjects where we're going from 2 dimensions to 2 dimensions. Because if you're all using different proportion paper, it's going to be different. Yeah. But if we work from, could we draw Finn as one of our last things? Would you mind that,
I
Lena?
think we
Could
should
we
draw
draw
your
him?
cat. I think we should
We
draw
can
your cat.
try, but I love that picture of him. I think it's a great picture. And well, all right, we'll talk about it. Draw somebody's pet will be our last assignment of this term. But I'm thinking about just in this particular case, because all the lines matter, this proportion is more important. In other cases, I'm kind of we're going to be focusing on a subject in the center, and then we can, it doesn't really matter what size paper you're using. We're going to be looking at width versus height, that kind of thing. So that'll be easier to have a kind of variable size of paper. But yeah, on something like this, it helps. So try it on A4. It's a great idea. I also put 2 other exercises in the WhatsApp thread that you could also try to practice vanishing point perspective. So if you feel like it, try those 2.
Awesome.
Feel
Thanks
better,
so
Leela.
much. Thanks, guys. Bye.
Take care, sweetie.
Bye.
Bye. I think you guys are starting to get it. Bobby, does that make more sense here? Are you getting it? I can tell by the look on your face. It's hilarious. I can really tell if somebody's eyebrows are like this. And if somebody's like, oh no, wait a minute, now I'm cruising. We've got just a few minutes left. is, how does everybody feel about their drawings at this point? Does this feel kind of satisfying, like kind of running a marathon satisfying, or like running a 10K? Does it feel satisfying, like the way you went to the gym and you worked out really, really hard and it was kind of painful? Do you have a sense? I see this look on your faces, and I think it is. I can see everybody's like kind of motoring. It looks like, I feel like the work was put in on this one by everyone, and now you're kind of ending on a good note. Let's take a look. I'm going to remove my spotlight. Let's take a look. I'll take a picture of this and send it across so you can keep working. But let's take a look. Hold them up. I want you to hold, I'll take a look at it in a second, Agatha, but go ahead and hold it up. Hold it up. By the way, Agatha, your hair looks so amazing. Amazing. Oh, look at that. It's awesome. It's awesome. Awesome, you guys. You feel proud of yourself? This was a hard-won lesson. It was a hard-earned lesson. And you can keep going if you want. Annika, are you going to stay in? Can I just make you the host?
Yeah, why not?
Okay, I will make you the host, and then I'll pop off. Here we are. Oh, let me stop the recording. Oh, shoot. Can you stop the recording? Wait, I recorded this, didn't I? Yes. Can you stop the recording, Annika? It should allow you to do that. Oh, shit. No, don't. Can you make me the host again? One more second. Make me the
How
host
to do
again.
it? How
You have
make
to go to
how-
the three dots next. Go to the three dots next to my name and make me the host.
Okay. Yeah, I see. Yes, I see.
Make me the host again, and then I will be able to stop the recording. Okay, thank you, honey. Sorry, I forgot
No
to do
problem.
that. We're gonna stop the